You better be in the house when them street lights come on. Ain't that what your mama used to tell you? But I bet you when she told you to stay out the streets, she had no idea that the YouTube streets would take over the world. Uncle Juice, public figure Boogie, Baby Down So Raw, Detroit Gossip, and the most dangerous voice in Detroit, Dogface TV.
Bitch, I talk more shit than Dogface.
They running shit from coast to coast. Welcome to the Danger Zone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. My name is Dogface Calderon. This is Real Life Unfiltered. I want to welcome everybody to tonight's episode. This is part 2. Last night we came, we saw, we conquered. We had great discussions. Despite the fact that Henny was in the building, we still managed to have great discussions on matters of great importance. From a legal standpoint and from just a social standpoint. My name is Dogface Calderon. Now, ladies I'm going to have to, because people are saying that, hey, dog, you're biased when it comes to Henny. You're always attacking the dear sister. I don't agree with them, and most of those people are probably drunk off the Henny. But because I do listen to the people who support this podcast, I will introduce Henny first. And in this corner, the Legion of Doom Princess. The Mistress of Destruction. The angry black woman herself. That girl Henny.
Angry black woman. Wow. So we starting out the gate like this, huh? Okay.
We got nowhere to go.
Pain of my existence.
Right.
Welcome, everybody. I know you're really here to see me and Todd Perkins and Underdog. Don't nobody care about Dogface. Nobody came to see you, Otis.
I can't get no respect, right? It makes no sense, man.
Good evening, gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be here.
Right. And in the upper right-hand quadrant, I just learned that word. Don't you know? In the upper right-hand quadrant. I'm calling it a quadrant because it's 4. 4 means quad in Latin, right? Right? Or no?
I think it means quad in English.
Did you have to? Somebody sent some money already. Who's that? Kevin, who money is that? Otis. Kevin Black, $10. That my money, your money, Henny?
Oh, they gave it to
that
you.
Might be Henny's.
No, they ain't Henny. That's my money.
He's Otis. Okay.
That's his money.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Kevin. We ain't even got started yet. Attorney extraordinaire, legal expert, Todd L. Perkins. How you doing, good brother? R. Sorry.
Todd Russell.
You can learn that quad means 4, but you can't read that says Todd Russell Perkins.
And
we was on here getting on Ben Crump yesterday for reading.
Oh yeah, you
know
I didn't see that though. I didn't get a chance. We went so late last night. I didn't even turn it on and watch it.
Hey, listen, Todd. I just call him TP. Right
there, it is.
Yeah. So next time we come on, you put TP on there. You know what I'm saying? Todd Perkins is in the building. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm feeling good. It's going on into Friday. We got motions up in the morning in Wayne County, and some hearings in Oakland County in the afternoon.
Gotcha. And in the lower section, last but not least, look how you looking. Why are you looking like that, brother? Underdog is in the building. What's the word with you, brother? How you feel today?
What's up, bro? Feel good to be here, bro.
I've been trying to get you back on the show, but you're a little bit too busy with that old workout ass shit you be doing. I ain't got time for that shit.
Hey, man.
Don't let him bully you.
Nah, he can't do that.
I ain't got time for all this whole workout ass shit. I'm old.
I know you ain't coming to the gym. I know you ain't. I don't even ask you no more.
Nah, I got to work out for all right. You hear me?
That's right.
Hey, Underdog is in the building. Hey, let's just jump right into it. Hey, listen. The subject at hand, this is part 2 of of what we did yesterday. It's all thing Nolan until we get some usable, serviceable answers to what in the fuck is going on here. We're gonna be on this we're gonna be on this who sent some more money? Who's that sent that money? Who that? Deontay Moore, Deontay.
Your people's feeling sorry for you.
Yeah, my
No,
dog.
I think it's the end of the week. I think people get them shit. The eagle flew today.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what it is. Deontay Moore, 1990. That's a good year. That's a good year for wine and beer. 1990. Hey, listen, thank y'all. Hey, welcome to the show. Attorney Todd Perkins, underdog, that girl Henny. My name is Dogface Calderon. Let's jump right into it. Hey, listen. Yesterday we went over the autopsy report, the independent autopsy report that was sought after by Carmelo. I mean, excuse me, not Carmelo, but Nolan Wells' family. I think we need to start with just the overall coverage as a whole. I want to ask the question to the panelists. There's been a wide variety of different forms of coverage in this particular case, by traditional journalists and by non-traditional journalists at the same time. What do you guys think of the coverage of what's going on with Nolan Wells so far? How do you rate it? What score did you give it?
Well, go ahead, ladies first.
No, I was just thanking my peoples for dropping them gems on me. Thank you.
Can I get a Jim Coco?
No.
I don't like
Go ahead, Attorney Todd Perkins. You may proceed.
Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday. What I applaud the people, and I call them superstars. Ben Crump is a superstar. These national figures and all of these people, I applaud them for giving attention to something that would have otherwise just been another young Black life lost. And that's what it was. And, we don't know where it's going to go. We're not rushing to decision like our sheriff did, saying it was, an accidental drowning, or I don't know his specific words. But, the attention that you're giving to someone and to a family, to help them get closure. That's what you want to do. And, so because God is with them, and, I believe that they're faithful people, and having suffered loss myself, you want to get to the point where you can have that closure, and they don't have it right now. They don't have the answers, but if it wasn't for these people, it wasn't for people like yourselves who continued the dialogue, then it would have just been pushed under the rug. You saw where this was going before these people jumped in. We would have never known about it. I mean, as much as you all are in the know, searching for things to talk about and topics to bring to your audience, you never would have known it.
Yeah. Underdog?
I feel like it's really an act of unity on our part, right? And for us, that's a rare thing. Most homicides or killings of our own people, they're almost easily swept under the rug, mostly because there's no unity expressed by us. But you got a lot of people involved, a lot of people making it difficult for them to cover this up. You know what I mean? So that's the part I give that and then at the end of the day, for real, this is like TP say, like we on the ride, and we still, to me, as far as I'm concerned, we in the beginning of the ride, because there's still a lot of things that gotta unfold, and our unity is that makes it difficult for them to cover this story up is actually what is the pressure that's needed for the truth to come out. So yeah, we just got to stay on it, because we can get the person charged, but even then they so dedicated to covering the truth of this matter up that we may get somebody charged for this, but just like the Asian guy, whatever, that killed the other brother, he fought that case for 3 years. They let him off, but they let him off once the smoke cleared some, and they will try to do the same thing with whoever ends up being charged with this. They're gonna try to, this support we got, this, the publicity of it may not allow them to just say, hey, this investigation shows that no one should be charged. You know, our presence make it difficult for that because we want somebody like y'all took somebody. You know, y'all took a life, we want a life. You know what I mean? So I think we're doing good, but we can't get sidetracked. We can't get excited because a conviction doesn't necessarily mean a win. You know, they come back on appeal and release them. So I just think we got to stay focused, and you know, you doing one of the top dog jobs, bro. You really keeping this alive, you know, and you spreading it real nice. So yeah.
Henny,
I agree with what Underdog said about the unity, because we are unified on this for the most part. Our people are coming. Is that me? Oh, our people are coming out in numbers. We're staying active every day. So I think the coverage is good. Not all coverage, but either way, we need the eyes, right?
yes.
Well, you know, one of the things I was going to say, I'm not rushing. I'm not saying that somebody's going to get charged. I'm not saying anything that. What the worst part that I saw is just the lack of caring, the lack of consideration, and you know, I'm the eternal optimist. I hope that no one did something wrong to this young man. I pray for an accident, because if he called these individuals his friends, I hope that's what actually happened. That's that's the optimistic side. But for me, what's definitive in this was there was an overwhelming lack of concern or a lack of diligence and due diligence in this particular matter in the investigation. Because, you know, as the sheriff said, an hour after finding the young man, he drowned, and that was going to be it. And that's my thing. Now, you know, Underdog, I think he has feelings, even though he's not rushing to judgment, but he has those feelings, and we have those feelings in our heart because of how we've been treated in the past. You know, so that's I'm borrowing something that I might not have liberty to borrow from him, but that's I think it's a fair assessment on how a lot of people feel.
So listen, when it comes to media, right? I expected traditional media outlets to do what they have done. I expected them to report like they've reported. Um, I think that for the first time that I can recall, independent media, including urban media outlets, they have outdone themselves in terms of investigating what has transpired. They are out front when it comes to gathering information, talking to sources, digging up stuff that traditional media outlets haven't. They're digging up stuff that even law enforcement either couldn't do or were not inspired to do. I think that the people who are setting the tone on this issue, as it specifically relates to what's happening with Nolan Wells, just like what happened with the case of Carmelo Anthony, I think for the first time, 2026 marks. I think it marks a changing of the guard in terms of who the big dogs on the block is when it comes to media. You have the big block media outlets; they have the power, they have the resources, but it's always been the little PI guy. It's always been a little guy who's been able to kind of like take over, and that's what's happening right now. Deontay Moore, should be $5 more.
Well, I object,
Come on, tell me why.
because while there are a lot of people out here who are doing a phenomenal job, and this is no dig at anybody, but there is a huge difference between an independent journalist and a content creator. An independent journalist is going to investigate and stick to the truth and tell the truth no matter how it lands to the audience. That means if you have to, with the Nolan, one of the things that I saw come out today, and one of the narratives that everybody has been spewing, is that the situation with the boat is not real. I happen to have come across evidence that shows that information is actually true. It's not just a story, and it's not just some clips off of legacy media. I have
Can you break
evidence.
down what that means, what happened, what we're talking about specifically?
What do you mean?
Can you break down? Because a lot of people don't know what the boat situation is.
So if you haven't been following the case, the boat situation is that the boys who were out there on the island with Nolan said that they had run into some boat trouble, that the boat began taking on water and the boat was sinking. A lot of people did not believe that story and even believed that the whole dispatch phone call was fake and staged. They believed that Cito was never involved in the situation, but I happen to have information that that is actually true. But because there are people who are content creators who jump and report every narrative that comes out and sensationalize it and push it out into the collective, so much so that you have 15, 20 people saying the same thing, and these people are jumping from all those channels. It begins to saturate the brain, saturate the mind to where they won't be able to let go. So there's a difference. A journalist is going to actually dig and actually find the facts, and they're going to report on them, whether the people want to hear it or not. A content creator is going to create a narrative. Listen to the name, content creator. They're creating the content for you. And when it comes down to handling cases, while we are standing in unity and while we are keeping Nolan's name uplifted and out here in the media, we've made so much noise that legacy media is keeping up with this story. I do feel like the salacious headlines we can do without. There's a responsibility and an integrity that a journalist has. So when you call yourself a podcaster, when you call yourself a journalist, and especially if you say that you are investigative, that means that you're going to investigate everything that comes across your desk and be responsible with what you put out there. Content creators just going to create content.
And let me say this. So, like I say, like I believe we are in the beginning stages of this ride. Like you said, dog face, as far as somebody trying to set the tone. I believe that there's a battle between two different tones that's trying to be set. And yes, as the content creators is kind of like, you got some content creators, they fake as a motherfucker. So therefore, in their fakeness and them not having no experience under their belt, then yeah, they will create any kind of content. But when you got a stump down brother like Dogface, when he get to creating that content, trying to or creating that narrative, that thing gonna be pretty close to what the circumstances is. Because if you know anything about Dogface, you know anything about me, we done been through hell and back a couple times. You know what I mean? And that in itself is knowledge in itself. So we can just like one thing that I'll never be able to get over is the fact that this Katie chick, she said that she talked to Nolan, sounds like truthfully, if you're just trying to holler at a chick, shoot you some game, you get her number, she gets your number, y'all exchange numbers, and I meet you when you get back to Mississippi or whatever, and she said he got back on the boat. But his friends said that he got off the boat, left them, and was chilling with her. So just that conflict is just like the proof of what I'm saying, how two different tones is trying to be set. Now, if we change the color, same narrative, but change the color, Katie would have been brought to the front if she was a black girl. And her whole government would have been out there. It wouldn't have been just a Katie. It would have been Katie Brown.
She's Katie McCormick.
Okay, Katie McCormick, right? But she has not been brought to the front, though.
No, she has not. But Katie, her statement to the mother was that she met Nolan and it was just high and by, and he told her that he was going to get back on the boat. But the mother called bullshit on that. As far as her saying it was just a brief meeting, just a high and by, the mother wasn't buying that. I'm not buying it either.
So you think Nolan was hitting that pussy?
No, I don't think he got a chance to. I think he was trying.
I don't think he would have stayed on the island. I don't think that's really like the ultimate opportunity to hit the pussy. You're like, I ain't gonna stay on the island and hit the pussy. I'll meet you back at the land. Like I can meet you at my house. I can meet you at your house. I ain't gonna stay on no island and leave all my friends. Which
Katie was out there with her family, with her stepdad and a few other family members
we
were
know
out there with her.
That's right. So she had to get back to them possibly. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't possible. That's what happened. So listen, let's get into some of the minutia. Let's get into some of the let's talk about some of the things that just don't make sense as they were originally reported. Henny, you want to kick this off to let's talk about some things that just don't make sense. Now,
all right.
The first thing he brought, the first most blaring thing that I think I heard about this thing is okay. So let's starting from the very beginning when the story started to unfold. The story of what Katie said versus what his friends said about what he did. That was the first thing that kind of like drove people into a frenzy because they're diametrically opposed to each other. She says that one thing happened and his friend said something totally different. So what have we been able to glean in terms of establishing what is true and not true about those two very different stories or versions of the story?
All the stories about Katie are hearsay because Katie has never made a public statement.
Okay.
She's never made an Instagram post, a Facebook post. She's never done an interview, no nothing. Katie is mum's the word. What we hear about Katie came from the mom, came from the friends that were there on the island. The mom said Katie called her. She spoke to her. That was what Katie told her, that she and Nolan, it was brief. It was a high and bye type of thing. He told her he was going to get on the boat with the friends. That's it. The friends are saying, no, Nolan met her that day on the island and he was really liking her. And he said he was going to stay on the island with her. So therein lies the conflicts. The mother says, again, this is all hearsay that we're hearing. The mother says that Katie spoke to investigators, that she was one of the first people to speak to investigators. For me, hearsay or not, it's a red flag because by all accounts, you are the last person to see Nolan alive, even in her own narrative. When she says he told her he was going to get back on the boat, you're the last person to see Nolan alive, according to all of the narratives that we've heard. And it's not far beyond, and Mr. Perkins can probably attest to this too. It's not far to think that a person who may have had something to do or know something about someone's demise to be the one out in front. Because the best way to hide is in front of everybody. So let me tell the mother my side of the story. Let me go talk to these investigators so they have my narrative. It's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched for that to be told to her to go do if one of her family members did something to her. So at the end of the day, Katie, in my eyes, there's a lot that's spinning with her, but she's still a suspect in my eyes. A person of interest, I should say. I said I wasn't saying suspect. She's a person of interest in my eyes.
Mr. Perkins.
I can agree with that. Now, so let me ask you, catch me up on this, Ms. Henny. She has not made a public statement at this point, or has she talked to, I'm assuming she's talked to the investigators in this matter.
That's what the mom said. I believe the mom because she doesn't have a reason to lie and tell us that somebody spoke to investigators and they didn't.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If investigators are doing their job and Katie's name is being mentioned on a national platform, I would think if I'm a half of an investigator, I'm going to actually go talk to her. Now, public statement, the reality is if these kids have access to lawyers in a situation like this, I would tell my clients not to make a statement at all. Now, friends, from a legal perspective, there's one thing, and then there's friends, and then there's, being social. And if I'm a friend of the family, obviously I'm going to be with the family at this time of loss.
She's not a friend. The mom doesn't know her.
No, I know that.
Oh, I was about to say, though, she doesn't.
Yeah. I'm talking about people in this area. But, if I was Katie, I'd have a lawyer. People are making assessments and making statements, just like how you said, she's a person of interest. If I have a client who's a person of interest, the best thing I can tell them is just not say anything. Maybe not even give a statement. If why would she give a statement at all? If she has counsel, and she's a person of interest, then why is she giving a statement? And people can draw whatever conclusions they want to draw in chats and talks and, back and forth conversations like what we're having, but that's just conversation, because there's a different set of rules in that courtroom and in a court of law and how the law works than it is in informal forms like what we have, engaging each other, listening to comments and doing research, and as intellectual as we want to be, it's still a different set of rules over there.
It absolutely is. So I want to play something. And I want you guys to tell me. I did an interview with Hip Hop United, which is an all set of iHeartRadio Atlanta 96.1. Shout out to Breon. Shout out to Al Jordan. I want to play something, and I want you to tell me what you think about what I said here.
Right now, Nolan Wells. We know that kid took a trip down in Mississippi with some of his friends, and they came back and he didn't. In fact, all they came back with was a cell phone, and even they didn't come back.
And his car keys.
They had to go get it, and his car keys. A lot of different developments happening with that. I think we just got the boat GPS information the other day. It's going to a grand jury, so the findings is going to be out soon. But what's your take on that, man, in terms of where we are with that right now, and what you think happened, and how you think this is all going to unfold?
To be absolutely truthful with you, brother, I believe that Nolan Wells was murdered. And the striking thing that you said in your preamble to asking me that question is that he was out with his friends.
Friends in quotes.
In quotations. So I wanted to kind of I wanted that to be an emphasis. I wanted to emphasize that point. He was out with people who he believed, no matter what happened, he was out and about with people who he thought were his friends. Black people, I think that we have to be careful. I think we have to be forever vigilant about our status, our environment, and the people who we would call friends.
All right, big topic.
So that's a major issue. A major issue is it safe for young black boys to be in a predominantly white environment or in a predominantly white situation, whether it's school, whether it's community living? Is it safe, even in 2026, for black people to let their hair down and to just assume that the world is just peaches and cream? Or what must we remind ourselves and must we teach our children that, hey, there may be situations. So the wider a situation is, the less safe you are in that situation. What do we do?
So,
I got
okay,
your
check it
kids.
out.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So just like you say, when black people go into a predominantly white area, it's very important that the parents teach the nature of that environment. The players in it, which is predominantly white people, right? Okay, that's one teaching, right? But 9 times out of 10, before that black family get there has already been a teaching to the white people, to those white kids. Like whenever there's almost always all white people, goddamn well racism is being taught in that motherfucker. You know that. So just because they may have a more polished version of it, to where as soon as a nigga step on the scene, they killing them. No. But you best believe that poison of racism is being instilled in them kids. It's already instilled in the parents. That's where all that shit starts from. Just like when you have two babies, or just a whole group of babies, black and white, you don't ever see them exercising no racism. That shit has to be taught. So I believe in the predominantly white areas, it's already taught. We don't want no niggas around here. So when the nigga do hit the scene, black family gonna emerge themselves in here with these white people. You already know automatically. To me, I feel like it's in their nature, just from our slavery. It's in a white man's nature. I think almost every white man would love to kill a nigga and get away with it. So,
Damn.
Yeah, I believe that. So that means that,
Are you saying that's a bucket list thing?
Man, hey, it's a bucket list thing, all of them. The
God
ones
damn.
the ones that don't is actually fighting against their nature. And that's the only time a white person gonna either be somewhat cool with a black person. And only a real black person is gonna make a white person go against their nature. Like, don't get comfortable thinking it's gonna be sweet over here because I can get real black on you. I know your white ass. Once a white person know that, they act right. They act better. I ain't gonna say they act right. I don't even think it's impossible for them to act right. But it's like domesticating a damn lion. And to watch this, every once in a while, hey, they had that damn lion. Hey, they be loving on him. And you see him as a baby, they be loving him. That lion get older. Hey, out of the blue, the lion break that domestication, and he'll kill his owner. Same thing with the white people, man. They always want to,
Damn.
bro. And just think, man, out of all that time they known that boy, they decided to kill him just when he was about to fly.
Mr.
That's what they
Perkins.
do, bro.
Mr. Perkins.
Well, I mean, some of what Underdog was saying is that's just how we feel, and that's how they feel. These are facts that people feel that way. There's an unfortunate set of circumstances and an unfortunate set of facts that exist. Now, I tell my kids to always be vigilant, keep your head on a swivel. My dad always taught me. He said, "Listen, people are too casual with the word friend." He says, if you die in your life and you can call two people friend, he says that's a successful existence. He says the rest of them are on a scheme and a level of acquaintances, going from acquaintances to better acquaintances to something more. But friends, we're too casual with that word. And I just I'm looking at some of the chat. I just couldn't see myself leaving. If this is my friend, I couldn't see myself leaving without doing everything that I could to find him or just hang. I stay on the island until I found him. I'm not going home without him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going home without calling every local force, the Cajun Navy, and I'm calling the police. I'm calling all of these individuals or all these services to help me find my friend. If that's the case, I'm gonna help him find a human being. And there's some people. I think Underdog speaks to the tribal nature of people. It's unfortunate that Black people seem to be, as we've assimilated into society, to be less tribal, because we found more success when we were united in our efforts rather than trying to assimilate sometimes and assimilate in an environment where they don't want us. But I use my spidey senses, and I can quickly determine whether I want it or not. And then I still, if I have a purpose to serve or a need to serve for somebody who's there, I'm going to serve it, and then I'm going to leave. Because, like right now, I'm sitting in my house. I'm in the hood that I'm in the house my great-grandfather bought. And, this is a neighborhood that is gentrifying today, but, I feel comfortable here. And so you're right, Underdog. I mean, we go to these neighborhoods and we think that we're going to be accepted and we're going to think that everything's all Gucci. It's not. It's not.
But that's the first mistake.
About everybody. Go ahead.
That's the first mistake.
It's
right
what?
there. Is thinking that you're going to be accepted. The conversations have to be had with the children. You have to let the children know their history, where they came from, who they are. You have to be sure that you are instilling in them a sense of pride of who they are and teaching them to follow that spidey sense, that gut instinct. When you see the red flags, immediately exit the situation. And like Dogface said, the more of them, the less of you. Get up out of there ASAP. The first time a friend gives you an ick, and it's not just your white friends too, your Black friends as well. If anybody is giving you an ick, I'm a phone call away. Make sure I need an Uber up out of here. I got you. Or I'm on my way home. Let me know what's going on. You have to have those conversations. It's just like having the conversation with the children when they get their license, that we have to teach them how to interact with the police so that they could make it out of that interaction alive. And it's a sad but true reality that we have to have these conversations. And see, unless you understand the plight, the black fatigue, unless you understand it from our perspective, not the watered down, stolen version, our version of it, you'll never be able to understand what it is to walk a mile in our shoes day to day. We're not safe in this country. And that's a fact. How many times are we seeing not just situations like Nolan Wells? Look at what happened to Carmelo Anthony. Just this morning, I'm scrolling and I see where 3 officers shot and killed someone. Shot him in the head. Person of color.
Hey, I think for real, I think even Carmelo Anthony's situation was premeditated. I also believe Nolan Wells' situation was premeditated, right? The reason why I say it was premeditated is because, his phone was like him, and they immediately disarmed him with that phone. That's how they was able to really finalize as well as execute whatever plan they had for him.
So let me ask you this: if you're saying that, right? Why bring the phone back to land and not dump it over into the water?
Man,
why not get rid of the evidence that you?
We smart and we dumb. We smart and we dumb. Hey, listen. Almost every criminal, like, we done watched enough of crime stories where we was like, man, he almost got away. When they own your ass, it don't take number one glitch, and they got you.
But they can't be able to execute a murder where they're not getting caught, where they're not in cuffs right now, and be able to be dumb.
White kids can. They helping them cover up their bullshit right now. They helping them. Well, if they did it right the first time, this investigation wouldn't even be no investigation. If they did it right, being that they didn't do it right. See, they didn't do it right, but they still supported by their fucking peers.
They are still supported by their parents. Absolutely.
Right. So therefore,
but at the end of the
I ain't saying their parents. I'm saying the whole fucking Mississippi. They supported by Mississippi. Every motherfucking hunky in Mississippi with some power is backing everybody that's guilty of that shit. Every last one of them. So they support it.
Right. But my thing is this, and this is where I challenge people that come at me with just the friends. So it's not possible that Katie and her family had anything to do with it. When you zero in on one set of people, you don't look at everybody involved. Katie is white. Her family is white. The father, when he went looking for Nolan, at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, there was people on a tented out, camped out on the island with 2 boats docked. So here's why I don't hone in on the friends, because there's too many suspects. And if I laser in over here, I miss something over here. And I want to see what's going on and how all of it is going to play out. We don't know who was tented out on the island. We don't know who them 2 boats belong to. We don't know if they were questioned by authorities. We don't know if they disappeared before authorities got there. What I can tell you is there was a storm that came Sunday evening, the 5th, when the dad went out there in the morning looking. And what I can tell you is there's a possibility that them people on that tent could have did something to Nolan, could have had Nolan. And when the father came looking, they took off on their boat and dropped him in the water. And that storm brought him back to shore. See, my thing is, I don't just zero in on one thing. But what I can tell you is no matter who I'm zoning in on, I do know one thing. All of them are white. And we know that they're going to protect. We already know that the cover-up was on. The fix was there from the beginning. With the whole statement of, I don't see any signs of foul play. That right there alerted all of us. We were alerted from the picture we saw, only to find out later there were other black. I'm disappointed in Javon. Y'all are talking about these white kids. I'm disappointed in Javon, who is a childhood friend, whose mother is best friends with his mother, who he grew up with. He was out there on the island with Nolan. You left him too. Not only that, Javon's phone was on the same boat. According to his grandmother, his phone was on the same boat as Nolan's phone, and he had to retrieve his phone. So you aren't out here telling your full truth neither, because I had to dig and find that. In the very first interview he ever did with the Sun Herald, Javon's grandmother told that newspaper that him and Nolan's phones were on the same boat that Nolan rode in on. And Javon retrieved his phone later, and Nolan's mom had to track his phone down. So, Javon, you left him there too.
Hey, listen, Henny.
So before you do that, hold on 1 second, underdog. Give me 1 second.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna come back to you, right? But I want to play something, and this may add a sense of nuance to what we talked about here. Listen to this.
My brother, I think his name was Javon, was being interviewed. When they asked him, "Hey, did the police talk to you?" And he's like, "Oh no,
he said,
no."
Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really? Okay. Cops have not talked to you yet.
No, sir.
That's odd.
I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me.
So listen, before I even get to my response. So listen, I said this in this interview, right? He said, "No, sir. I don't," and then you can see the scowl on his face. "No, sir.
Yeah.
I don't see why the police had to talk to me." He responded to that question as if he was being accused of doing something wrong, and he was associating the police talking to him and questioning him with him being accused or being suspected of foul play. That's how he responded. And that's telling you one thing. That's not a natural response from a friend who has a friend missing, right? That's not natural. When somebody asks you, "So the police haven't talked to you?" That's odd, right? He responded, you can tell that he's been talking to them other white kids, or you can tell that he understands that the white kids are ducking down or tucking it in because they are being accused or being thought as suspects. That's why he responded like that. So it's either that or he's completely clueless as to how police investigations work. And just let me finish what I was saying to him.
The young man who's 17, 18 years old, who doesn't understand why interviewing him would have been one of the first things they did. That right there is telling. And it is indicative of Black people not understanding how vital they are and how vital we are in terms of protecting ourselves. Why would they interview me? Young man, you're a material witness because you were there. You knew him. You knew all the boys involved. You were there on the island that day. You heard the argument. You are a primary witness.
Yeah. And the kid was just so nonchalant, like, no, why would they want to talk to me? You're his best friend. You lived there. You were around when this happened. You should have been one of the first phone calls they made outside of the group he was with on the boat.
Dog face. Hey, listen, right? First of all, these Black kids that should be sticking together, right? You know, and that's just really some shit that the parents put together. Like, hey, Black family, hey, there's only a few of us out here. We need to stick together. But watch this though, right? You got to be a real nigga, bro, to know how to stick together with your brother, bro. Them motherfuckers ain't real, bro. Them ain't no real Black kids, really. They blacked out through whitewash. You know what I'm saying? They really ain't Black kids, bro. They don't have that in them, what we have in us. And it really shows that the shit we got in us, that we didn't made it through, really made us some rare motherfuckers, bro. Because when that pressure comes, they already know, bro, automatically side with them white boys, bro. They automatically know that. Because that's that weak nigga in them. That's that weakness in them. Like, the mom didn't say, well, these are the Black kids, y'all stick together. How can you say that without even knowing what kind of Black kids they is? And that's why they ain't sticking together. Because under pressure, they was never really connected. Them Black motherfuckers that think they white is connected with the white. And that's why they sided with the right. But my thing of it all is this, right? At this point, for us, like real street niggas, bro, motherfuckers that have made it out of it, and you know, here we is at home, family kid, family men, all this little stuff, bro. We know that any act of covering up any truth is an admission of guilt. On what level? I don't know. It's degrees to all that shit. It's degrees to the guilt. Well, did, did they just pass you the phone and you hid it, or did you actually cluck him in the back of his head? You know what I mean? So it's going to unfold though, but we have to keep our presence present.
Mr. Perkins.
Well, I just, he's a young man. He could be intimidated by these cameras being put in his face, but his response, that's supposed to be your boy. That's supposed to be your man. And, that's the response. Why would they want to talk to me? I would want to talk to them if that's my homeboy. I would want to go out and say everything I know, even if I knew nothing. You know what I'm saying? I would want to say something like that.
Mr. Perkins.
That was a rough one.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a rough one to see him, and again, I'm trying to give him some space because he's young. But at the end of the day, if that was my guy, I'm going to do everything I can, and I'd be walking hand in hand, arm in arm with his family, and right down to the police station to make sure that I'm going to make sure that I give all the attention this thing needs and it deserves, to give him the proper, this family the proper closure to what seems to be now an investigation that's up and running, where they were just trying to push it off to the wayside. So,
well, I'm gonna take some of the burden off of his shoulders because he has a mother, and as a mother, I would have taken my son. That's my best friend's child. That's your best friend you grew up with. You was out there on that island. We going to go let them know what you know. Like you said, even if it's nothing, we're going to help bring him home. Now, for me, I didn't see that as him having an omission of guilt. I saw it as him being nervous, because at that point, when he was doing that TMZ interview, Nolan was dead. He wasn't missing. He was dead. And you asking me about investigators talking to me, why would they talk to me? I don't have nothing to hide. I'm open to talking to them, but why would they talk to me? So that's how I saw that. But, everybody's perception is different. Absolutely. But again, I'm not finished. Let me land my plane before you cut me off. Thank you. Thank you. So while we sit here and we talk about these grown teenagers, because they're all under the age of 18. Everybody we're talking about is under the age of 18. The Warrens and the Javons and the Katie's, as far as we know, they're all underage. So the responsibility still lies on the parents to educate their children and to guide them in the right ways. Now, Nolan's parents have said that they've taught him about history. They taught him about being in these spaces. However, Nolan, and this is a key point for me, said he didn't want to see color. He wanted everybody included. I feel that that's because his parents, he's biracial. His mom is half Asian, half Black, or Filipino. She's Filipino. His father is Black. You grew up in a diverse family. When you grow up in a diverse family, you view the world differently than when you grow up in a family that's white, Black, Black. It's different for you. You look at the world through rose-colored glasses. And so I feel that it was harder for them to get through to him with the dangers that lurk. You're a Black man, regardless to what. That 1% still exists in this country. It never went away. So it was sad to hear them say how much they instilled into him that he chose to push out the window because of the kind heart and nature that he had. So he thought everybody was going to be light and love, but like they told him, everybody is not going to reciprocate what you're putting out. But when it comes down to Black parents with children in white spaces, you have a responsibility to your children to educate them because they're in danger.
Hey, Henny,
whether you realize it or not.
Let me cut you off, but I'm going to let you keep on rocking.
No, I'm done.
No. Some people will say to what you just said, that is on the surface racist of you to teach your children that in the presence of white people that they may fall victim to murder. They will say to you that you are miseducating your child and you're instilling the race card in your child. That's what they would say to you right now today, because they want us to believe that all the things that we think are factors are no longer factors. What say you to that, Henny?
So let me ask you this. When has a mob of black people lynched a white man or a white woman? When has a mob of black people lynched a white woman or a white man just because it was Saturday night and we felt like going pounding some suds and riding in our pickup truck? Yep, I just did a stereotype. When have we ever done that?
Never heard of it.
When have we ever systematically set up a whole span of a country against white people? So it's racist of me to teach my children about protecting themselves in spaces. Oh, I already know what you're going to say, but I know, Mr. Perkins, we can't be racist. I know. But I'm saying, I'm responding to what Doggy said. So I'm racist, yet my ancestors don't show that we've been racist. Your ancestors show that you are racist. On the flip side of all of that, I don't have a history of being violent. I don't have a history of skinning people and making furniture out of them. I don't have a history of cutting off their hair and stuffing pillows. I don't have a history of taking their babies and using them as alligator bait. I don't have a history of making black mothers breastfeed white babies. I don't have a history of that. I don't have a history of violence against another group of people because of the color of their skin. And that violence never stopped. It was just hidden. So I'm sorry. If I have to protect my children so that they're not the next person that's hanging in a tree and it's called a suicide, or they're drowned somewhere, or a white officer decide to pull out their gun and shoot my child in the head, if that makes me racist, then goddamn it, put a big capital R on my motherfucking forehead and I'll be that, because I'm going to protect my kids, because history has taught me that I have to protect my children.
So let me say this before I let Mr. Perkins take over. Then Underdog will come to you next. So Underdog has been knowing me for the better part of 30 years, right? Unfortunately for him, right? Too bad. So what I'm about to say to you, what I'm about to say right now, you guys can tell that I didn't just make this up. Black people can't be racist. The word racism is a noun. Excuse me, it's a verb. It's an action word. It denotes and it articulates an action. Racism means, right, as it applies to what we have been exposed to in this country and beyond. Racism means that there is a systematic play on trying to deny a group of people based on the color of their skin access to something, whether it is financial, medical, educational, whatever. Black people, we don't own anything. We don't own, like Mr. Perkins said, we don't own any infrastructures. We don't have the power to deny somebody of anything solely based on the color of their skin. We don't have that power. We never have had that power. And in situations where we have outnumbered people who don't look like us, we've never treated them like white people have treated us. We don't own anything. It is impossible for black people to be racist because racist is a noun. It's an action word, right? It says exactly what I just said. It says we don't own shit. We don't control shit. There's nothing that you, I, him, or her can do to deny white people any goddamn thing, because we don't own it. We don't control it, right? And we don't have the major influence of it. So we can't deny anybody. So like Mr. Perkins said yesterday, and like Henry said today, hey, listen, me calling you a hunky, that don't make me racist. It makes me prejudiced. It can make me a bigot, but it doesn't make me a racist, because I'm not utilizing my power or my influence as a collective to deny you access to something solely based on the color of your skin. Black people, as vile, as vicious, as explosive and implosive as we can be as a people, we still don't do the shit that was done to us. And black people, we're the most spiritual people on the face of this earth. And the reason why, well, what do you mean? We gangbangers? Hey, listen, bro. If black people were really as vengeful, white people don't forget shit. They would come back to visit your ass 10 years from now to get your ass together. So what I'm saying to you is this: is that black people, even though we are as fucked up as we are, man, if black people were really as vengeful as people try to make us out to be, there would be some get back based on the shit that happened to us.
If anything, we're traumatized.
We're traumatized as a motherfucker.
And watch this. To add to that truth is the fact that they still hunt us. They still predators to us because they know we have that civility in us. We have that gentleness in us. We have that kind of spirit in us. They know that. That's why. But watch this though, right? I look at that whole Nolan environment, right? That, yeah, they may have had the greatest defense ever in the beginning, but all those rides home, all those cookouts, all of those things that start making them rethink racism. You know what I mean? That's like kind of like what influenced them to put their guard down some. They are my friends. You know, they pick me up every day for practice. You know what I mean? Just all those things that start. That's just like, you know, if a girl come kiss you on your cheek every day, after a while, you can be the most damaged guy ever. If a girl come kiss you on your cheek every day, you're like, oh, she been kissing me on my cheek for a year and a half. She must like me, or I think she likes me. See, now you ain't defensive towards women no more. Okay, let's turn that to our people. You get to being around these white people, man. You know, they the masters of divide and conquer. Hey, your parents says that, you know, you can't trust them, you can't do this. They're doing everything in their power to convince you that they can be trusted. And then behind your mama back, behind your daddy back, you'll push your guard down a little bit more than they taught you not to. And over the years, they know them boys for years. Over the years, you don't even have your dukes up no more. I can pop you right in your head now.
So watch this. Let me say this and I'm gonna pass the floor. So watch this. Listen. So people say, hey, dog face, hey, you guys are always pulling the race card out your hat. You guys are always saying this is racist or that is racist. We're not responsible. We were not here. We didn't enslave your ancestors. You're not in slavery anymore. And then even when you were that we didn't do it, so we're not culpable or responsible for it. And not all of us are bad people. This is what I say to that, and I'm gonna shut the fuck up after I say this. Listen.
You won't.
I promise you I'm gonna pass the baton. So watch this. Asshole.
I am what I sit around, and that is you.
You're right. So listen, here's the whole thing. Let's talk about what black parents should be teaching their children, especially when they live in mixed environments or predominantly white environments or environments that are predominantly not them. Let's talk about what we should be teaching our children. This is, and I'm telling you this. I'm going to start off, and then I need everybody to chime in on what they would teach their black child if they were raising their black child in a predominantly white environment. I would teach my children this, right? It has never taken all of any group of people to believe the same thing about a particular subject in order for some people in that environment or who are a part of that community to practice or carry out the worst possible things they could possibly do. Meaning that all white people have never always been racist. All white people didn't believe in slavery. All white people, all Germans and all Western Europeans didn't believe in the Third Reich and the philosophies of Mein Kampf and Karl Marx and none of that shit. All white people have never had to agree about how they feel about white people in order for some white people to carry out the atrocities that we know happen. Don't think that all of them have to think the same way in order for some of them to execute a plan that is diabolical and far-reaching and overtaken. You don't. Well, he's not racist. That's my friend Bobby. Hey, you don't know what Bobby is until you put Bobby in a situation where Bobby has a choice to make between your black ass and him, or maintaining some sense of cover-up for somebody else who's not like Bobby. So Bobby might not be outwardly racist. He might not be racist at all. But Bobby, if you ain't speaking up against the shit that you know is wrong, then I hold you as just as responsible as the motherfucker who devised and carry out the racist ass, diabolical ass shit that be happening. Next. Henny, what would you teach your child if you're raising your child in a predominantly white environment?
My children are already taught about that passive aggressive shit that happens. Them little comments that are giggled afterwards or supposed to be jokes. Pay attention to what's being said to you. Pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to the looks, the gestures. Pay attention to what your gut is telling you. Know that not everybody means you any well. Because y'all could be cool today and tomorrow you're a headline. So my children understand very well when they are in certain spaces and places to have their heads on swivels. And the first ick you get, be gone. Don't second guess it. Don't think it's just you. Be gone. Because that ick that you getting, that's your alarm clock telling you, get the hell on. So my kids know. Now that's not to say that teaching my kids, they know their history. They know their history so much so that they went into school correcting the teacher. And I got a phone call home about it. But I told her, you're not going to lie to my kids, so what's the problem? They know their history. They know who they are. And they know how to navigate this life to the best of my abilities. What they choose to do with it after that, I know I laid it down as a parent. So, yeah, they need to pay attention to them little things. Them big things, yeah, but them little things, oh my God, let me touch your hair. That's so pretty, bitch. You don't get the fuck on.
Mr. Perkins.
Well, I think that when you have these conversations in the dinner table conversations where you're talking about the circumstances that exist in our community and our society, and you have those and have the children around when you have them. Now, I have had the experience of my kids growing up in predominantly white neighborhoods, but what I did do was I had a focused interest on their extracurriculars they did in the city. I had a restaurant in Highland Park. I made sure that they worked at the restaurant. So they saw individuals and saw people that looked like them. And I take them downtown and I want them to see prosperous Black people that look like them. I introduce them. Tonight I was running a little late getting on here because my kids are older now. They're going to Howard. My son's is a senior at Howard, and my daughter's going to be a freshman at Howard. And they did go to predominantly white schools, but that's why I'm so happy that they're at a HBCU now. But I had them at a fundraiser for Freddie Haynes, who's he's going to be the congressman down in taking over Jasmine Crockett's some of her area now that it's been redistricted. And I make sure they're in the know of those things and seeing these conversations and hearing these conversations from our people as it relates to how we interact with the majority. Now, there's a lot. We have all different views, even in this group here, and I try to be diplomatic about it. But there's a little bit of underdog in all of us, because you got to keep that underdog in you. Because when you see that ugly head that rears out from them folks, and when them folks, you need to be prepared to respond accordingly. And that doesn't mean you act, you go screaming at the top of you. But I act with precision in all my decisions. And so when you do that, but I don't ever set it up that I don't like to set it up that I want to be in your world necessarily, even if I want to live next door to you, because I like the quiet sometimes. I like those things, but that doesn't mean that I want to do and party with you. And here's the thing. If we had similar interests, that's how I'm going person to person, how I make that decision. Not just because I want to be in this neighborhood, I want to be liked by people, because this whole thing of being liked, it gets turned around on you real quick. And then unfortunately, you find this young man who was around people who he thought liked him, but they didn't like him enough to stick around and try to see where he was on their way back to, back to the mainland. So, and again, I don't know what happened, but I know what didn't happen. And what didn't happen is enough for me to say, be cautious, move with caution, and move strategically. And I say that at 56 years old, I have to be more strategic today than I was when I was 18. But even when my kids are 17 and 20, I tell them to be the same way. And I hope I'm instilling that in them. And like Henny said, I don't know if they're going to take it and take these lessons that we're trying to give them of our experiences, our failures, our successes, but take the amalgam of all of them and put them together, and hopefully we get it, allow them to ascend beyond where we're at.
Hey, Underdog, I'm gonna let you take over now. But before I do, I don't want to lose this train of thought. Hey, Henny.
Yeah.
Mr. Perkins said, see, because sometimes we get tunnel vision when we start looking at things like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he made a point that is an absolutely wonderful point. It's wonderful despite the circumstances that we are discussing. We talk about what we would have done, right? Right? We talk about we judged it from what we wouldn't have done and what we would have done, right? He said that it's important to look at what did happen, but it's also equally important to examine what didn't happen. And when we look at what didn't happen in terms of the friends, the so-called friend group, right? It's easy for us to point out, hey, they lawyered up right away. Even before the body was found, they lawyered up. And I ain't forget you, Underdog. They lawyered up, right? Before any accusations started to swirl, before national attention was shunned down on Ocean Springs, Mississippi, this family had already started to maneuver and situate itself. These families, multiple white families, right? And it gave us, so why y'all taking this race? Because it seems like collusion. It seems like y'all working in a concerted effort. All y'all dummying up, all y'all telling y'all kids the same thing. Nobody's even been accused of anything yet. So before we get into that, which is what I want to talk about next, Underdog, your children were raised in a predominantly white environment. What did you teach?
We are in a predominantly white environment now, and I'll say pardon me just a little bit because this is an emotional subject for me, right? And like it stimulates me, right? And I can't get unstimulated because I can just Google something right now, and it's something probably just happened like this along these lines probably about a couple hours ago. So that's going to always be there. But the main thing that I tell my son, when I tell him who we are as a people and who they are as a people, to never put his guard down as to who they are as a people. Like we have and I ain't gonna lie to you, this is a white man's world, truthfully. So when we want to be in that area, like Mr. Perkins say, it ain't necessarily be with them. Nigga, this is where the nice shit at. I want to be where the nice shit at too. I got, you know what I mean? So that don't mean we gotta mingle. You know what I mean? That don't mean we gotta mingle. You know what I mean? But I have built myself up enough to be in the nice area. Okay, that comes with a role. Like we have to, have a role if we want to be successful when we merge with these people. Even in the hood, you have to have a role to survive the hood. You have to have a role to survive that in the white people hood. You gotta have a role, man. And what's the role? Never put your guard down. What are the signs? Whenever they think you weak and they start trying to act stronger than you, that's a sign. That's a sign that hunky trying to come out and commandeer. He's trying to usurp your authority as a black man. That all that is not, and my son, he loves me so much, man. Like he know that if he don't enforce law, we got a problem. And he rather enforce the law than have a problem with his dad. And that don't mean that I'm gonna whoop his ass and all that. Just for me to be dissatisfied with him. He's not okay with that. So, as far as that's concerned, right now, today, we're on the right path. Can I lose that position in my son's life? Oh yeah. All I gotta do is be a different daddy. All I gotta do is put my guards down. See, I ain't never putting my guards down. Therefore, he gonna always see me with my dukes up. So he gonna always have his dukes up. He can have a white friend. I got some white friends, solid. But you best believe they've been properly evaluated. They've been properly screened, and even to this day, they can't cross a line. They can't cross the line, and they know that. So guess what? The role is being played. We got.
Let me ask a question before you move on, Dog Face.
I'm good.
Of the panel, what do you say to those black people out here? Because there are people, our people, that are out here condemning those. Because I live in upper middle class now, and I'm in the South.
Yes, you do.
So my conversation with my children had to be a little different before we got here, because we were coming from New York. New York is diverse. It's a melting pot. Okay. I had white friends growing up. I went to school with white people too. I was in private school for a little while.
You came from Yonkers.
And you came from Detroit to where you are. So
The other Yonkers.
but the conversation was different. So what do you say to our people that tell us you're sacrificing your children to live a life you didn't have? Because that's been a narrative out here as well, that you are sacrificing your children for a life that you didn't have and a life that they didn't ask for, that you think you're too good for them to go to the schools that you went to and live in the neighborhoods that you lived in. What do you say to those people?
Mr. Purple.
I tell them to kiss my ass. Yes, you know what I'm saying? Because you know something, you know.
Hold on.
That's a clap.
You know, each person has had a very of this collage of individuals. We have all had very different experiences, and you know, to have the experiences that we want. So, okay, what about the guy and people that I know who have decided to keep their families in the city, and something tragic happens there because of the urban element? What do you tell that family who tried to make that effort? You know, if somebody's trying to do better by their children and they may even get it wrong, it's up to us to help them, direct them to get them right, instead of chastise them about and denigrate their efforts to give their children a better life. So what if I want to make it better for my other kids? So what if I look at it this way? And maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe, you know, even the person that I see, like, you know, I had to get over this. I went to Ivy League college, right? And I'm coming from the hood. I'm coming from the north end of Detroit, and I'm going to Hanover, New Hampshire. Imagine that. You know, it's definitely a culture shock. And I'm around other black kids who have grown up in affluent households, you know, and they have more white friends than they have black friends. Probably don't have a black friend. And it, you know, at first I used to be angry when I saw them, but as I got older, I said, look, that's not their fault. They're that way. But if they continue to make an effort to understand me and look and see that I could be an ally, or just even have a conversation rather than thinking of the idea of having black friends as repugnant, now that's a fool. You know, just like thinking that, you know, you're going to have white friends accept you universally. That's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? So there has to be some balance. But so somebody to say that, you know, you're doing wrong by your kids by having them in a nice neighborhood, I mean, that's outlandish. You know what I'm saying? And that's and that's a fool that you don't listen to.
And listen, that shit. Listen, so that is a conversation, that is a stance that people take, especially when we talk about matters like this. Well, hey, maybe if y'all would stayed in the hood, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Blah blah blah. Hey, listen. Maybe if you would stay in the hood and put that effort into rebuild, I'm getting the fuck away from you niggas.
But they would too. Yeah, and I said that. I said, if y'all win the Mega Million and you get you that Powerball, you get 10 million. Shit, you get 5 million, 2 million, 1 million. Your ass is moving out that hood too. Stop it.
Yeah. So it's a give and take. So here's the give and here's the take, right? So here's the skinny, like the mops just say, like the Italian, like the Italian.
Now he's a mobster.
Yes, yeah. Call me Dogface the Nose. So listen, here's the skinny. Not mobs, here's the skinny. Hey, listen, there's give and take. If once I obtain a certain level of success, my income bracket goes up. In the environment that I come from, right? The environment I come from is not kind to people who elevate their status and increase their financial status. The environment that we come from is so downtrodden, and it is such a fight and struggle to survive, to get or to accumulate anything, that the people who do reach a certain plateau, they stand out like a sore thumb, and then they become a target for the people who don't have. And so my thing is, I have been criticized. That is a real life situation for me, right? Right. So even I have two sets of kids, an older set and a younger set. My older set of kids who grew up in the city of Detroit, who had to ride the iron horse, you had to catch through the cross town, and you know what I'm saying? So, hey, listen, I'll take my chances with the white man versus me accumulate a couple of $1 million and I stay in the hood so you niggas can target me and try to take what I have from me and kill my family in the process. My versus me letting my kids walk to so-and-so school in 7 Mile and y'all shoot my motherfucking kids down because I'm fortunate enough to be able to put them in some good fashion or some good designer or something like that, or my kids at a gas station. Well, that can happen anywhere, Dogface. You're right, it can happen. But the likelihood is what I'm trying to cut down. The propensity and the likelihood of my kids getting shot down for a pair of goddamn shoes or for a chain or because they got a car when they're 15, 16 years old, somebody trying to carjack them. The likelihood, let's go to Detroit. The likelihood of a motherfucker carjacking my kid on 23 Mile in Romeo Plank versus the likelihood of my kid getting carjacked for that new car I bought them on 6 Mile in whatever is lower. I'm trying to increase the chances of survival. I didn't do all this struggling. I didn't work against the odds because where I come from, most of the people who I grew up around, and I'm from 2 different cities. I grew up in Detroit, and I grew up in Pontiac, and I grew up in Detroit as well. So my more formative years, in terms of my late teens, early 20s before I went to prison, I'm around motherfuckers who would kill you for anything. So my whole thing, the reason why I went to work, the reason why I hustled was to put my family in an environment where they wouldn't have to be subjected to being killed or assaulted or robbed or whatever. I'm trying to lower the probability, increase the probability of survival and lower the probability of being attacked and accosted. So if that means I'm moving out with white people, that don't mean I'm trying to act white. That just means I'm trying to put my family and myself in a situation where niggas ain't finna kill me for the little shit I was able to obtain. Underdog.
Hey, you know what, bro? I can't even say nothing to that because that's hitting in the head right there. But I will say this, right? Like we can't ride no bike backwards. It's just that simple. We can't ride no bike backwards. We must always move forward. So, hell yeah, they're gonna be hating when you have gotten your opportunity to move forward. And who is to say where's your next level of success is going to land you? We can't ride a bike backwards. You have to move forward, and that's all you have done. That's all Henny have done. That's all TP have done, and that's all I do. And hey, if I can level up again, I'm going to. I'm actually contemplating that now. And that's what we do. We ride that bike, bro. We moving forward. You can't ride that bike backwards.
Here's the thing. Those statements, and I love my people, but those statements come from that crab in the barrel mentality, in my humblest of opinions, because you don't want to see me do good. You want to see me do good, but you don't want to see me do better than you. And let me explain something. All of us have made some very valid points. Just because someone moves out of the hood into a whole nother environment where they want peace and quiet. I came from New York. Sirens, gunshots, fighting, traffic, loud music, loud. Everything is loud and on top of everything. I came here, when I went back to go visit for the Diddy trial, I said, oh my God, I feel claustrophobic. It's too loud. Because you know what I hear now? Crickets at night. I got birds chirping and rabbits and stuff running around in the backyard. I have peace. And when you attain a peaceful environment, it makes you peaceful on the inside. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to be something that I'm not either. But everybody wants to attain a sense of peace. My kids, they can ride their bike and make it back home. Not to say I'm not worried, but that anxiety isn't there like it is in the environment we came from. I don't like that people have weaponized the parents in this situation. But as parents, we do the best that we can. And when our children reach certain ages where they start thinking for themselves, doing for themselves, they do think and say for themselves. This family is grieving. And the racial environment of Mississippi is burning right now. And we stomping down on them. Because tomorrow will be 20 days. I said this on my last Instagram post because the district attorney came out asking for more peace. That they're going to wait to give us the autopsy till after the grand jury. It will be 20 days tomorrow since Nolan last walked out of his mother's house. In 3 more days, it will be 20 days since they found their son dead on the shores of Horn Island. And they still don't have any answers. Y'all ain't communicating with that family because Christine Wonesley has told us they're not communicating with them. Y'all are dropping this ball and we are seeing it. And the difference between any other case that they've had before and this case is, this case did not go away silently. Social media picked up this case and it's been running like wildfire. And the legacy media had to take a stand and take notice of what's going on in Mississippi. Now you got a spotlight on you. So it can't be business as usual because we are watching every misstep that you make. Because if Nolan had been Warren, they'd have had that toxicology report back by now because they would have said, we need this back stat. We know the differences. We're not dumb. Stop playing in our faces because the world is watching. And we're going to keep watching. That's if you don't want to notice or recognize any other aspect of racism in this, because there's some people that just don't want to hear it. You cannot deny that part of it. So no matter what you say or do, this case still involves racism. Be it the friends, be it the system, it's racism involved. I'm done.
So watch this. Let's clean up a couple of things. Go ahead, Mr. Perkins.
So here's one thing I think we can universally accept for all people who right now who we've acknowledged we have sort of transcended where we grown up to where we live now, as far as the affluence of the neighborhoods that we live in, right? Mm-hmm. But I think we all understand this, that we might be doing our kids a disservice if we don't show them how to move in both circles. That's what I fear, and that's what I make sure of. The reason why I want my kids to do extracurriculars in the city and deal with some kids who don't have gym shoes and let them see that hunger. You ain't never seen a wealthy kid son become a heavyweight boxing champion. You've never seen it because the hunger ain't there. That's the one thing they say. There's a thing out here that says you can grow up and become wealthy, and your kids might become wealthy, and your grandkids may. But the next generation after that, they're gonna be back on welfare because the hunger is gone, and you don't know how to move in different circles. So I make the effort for my kids to be around all different kinds of people, particularly our people, particularly in the hood, so that they don't become unfamiliar. Because if
what better examples? What better examples to see? They're gonna sound racist.
If you don't know how to move, in the hood, them kids in the hood know, and they can see that animal. If we have an animal instinct in all of us, and that, you know, you become a target. You know, so that's the one thing I want to make sure that no matter
Don't
where
worry
you
about it.
live,
I'm blocking
make
that
sure
bitch.
your kid know who he is.
Fuck Clubhouse. You
Hey,
banned.
That's what I said. Like, wait a
I
minute.
like that TP. I like that, man. Like for real. Like, you know, you go to the gym, you gotta know you gotta put your tank top on. You go to a funeral, you know you gotta put your suit on. You gotta know these things. You have to know these things. You can't wear no jogging suit to no funeral.
That part.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're absolutely right, man. We, you know, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I liked a lot of what he was teaching. He said, friendships in all walks of life. You know, to have friendships in all walks of life, you got to know how to walk in all these different kind of friendships. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that's powerful, man. Like, you know, my son, man, he
Thank
has never really even I'm probably the most only example of the hood that he probably has ever really seen, and he see it through his daddy sometimes.
But that's the best way to see
yeah,
it.
yeah, he
That's the
see it
best
through
way
his
to see
daddy
it.
sometimes. That's right. You know what I mean? So, you know, and you know, just like Dogface said, I like what Dogface said when he was saying that, you know, and you know, everybody say, man, it's crime all over the place. You right. But I'd rather be in a crime, and this is not no disrespect to nobody, but I would rather be where my neighbor then flipped out and killed his family. They came, knocked on my door and killed my family. You know what I mean? That's just the difference. In like in the hood, they kicking in your door, killing you and your family. But you
Yeah.
know, in these kind of areas where I'm at now, it may be a situation where this guy done killed his whole family and himself. It's these kind of okay. I'll choose that over that.
That's some
Eh,
shit. But I get
yeah.
it. So listen, before we move on to the next issue, I think we need to clarify a couple of things. Henny, where the fuck is the throat at?
Where the
And
fuck is the what?
where's
Where's
the
the
throat at?
throat?
And why
Oh,
why is the throat transported with the body? I have questions for you, Henny. My first question is, why wasn't the throat sent with the rest of the body in terms of the Nolan Wales situation? They know it's an independent autopsy. They know the body is being shipped from one morgue or one medical examiner office to the next, right? They know what the suspicions are. Mississippi know full well what the fuck the Nolan Wales family is looking for,
what's
right?
that throat
Why
got to do
wasn't the
with it?
throat when the matter at hand or the suspicion of death was drowning? We know that the throat and what happens in the throat is the first indication of what could possibly have happened to him if we're thinking about or looking at or considering drowning. Why wasn't the throat shipped with the body? Henny.
You want the politically correct answer first, or you want my personal answer first? Because I'm gonna give you both.
I want you to act like you got some sense, act like you was raised with some kind of goddamn.
Okay, so I'll give you. Okay, so according to the medical report, Dr. Mitchell explained that this is something, and other people who are in pathology and do these types of autopsies said that it's normal, it's practice, it's common practice for them to remove the throat
The component of the
bones.
throat.
I've been calling them throat bones, but I know it's the neck structure. Okay.
Yeah.
So they remove the neck structure, and they investigate. Okay. So according to Dr. Mitchell, they removed it because there was
I had a question for you. Is that common in all autopsies, or is that common in autopsies when there's a suspicion of drowning?
all autopsies.
Okay.
So Dr. Mitchell said they may have found something, and so they are investigating the throat. He doesn't know why they kept it because they never shipped it with him. Now, from what I understand, sometimes tissue and things of that nature are kept. They don't go back to the family. They get kept. But in this situation, I find it highly suspect. I feel like Mississippi has been trying to pull jurisdiction with that, or did pull jurisdiction with that, because I don't understand how it could not be forwarded to a second autopsy so that they could examine it, unless them taking it apart would hinder him from being able to investigate it on the flip side of all of it. My personal opinion,
they already did the autopsy, so they already have their initial findings. They did an initial testing. They did everything initially. So why wouldn't you forward that? What are you trying to hide, you son of a bitch?
the throat investigation, the body was sent out the next day after they did their autopsy. So
they say that it's an important part to like to reveal the cause of death.
Right. And so for
Also,
me,
whether or not somebody was
strangled.
But they also said it's not uncommon for it not to be shipped. For they said that, but it's still,
I think that's cover up. I think it's that cover up.
Here's the
I
thing,
think
though. It's not
everybody's
legal.
working together. That's a part of
It's
that
not
cover up.
illegal, but it's not illegal
Yeah,
for
but
them to
illegal
not
doesn't
do
mean
so. Wait, it's not illegal for them to not do so, but I do say that it is ill practice for them to not have done that, because at the end of the day, you hampered this second autopsy by not sending it. And we need to know, not only that, according to the medical report, the lungs, the airway, and the stomach were unable to be examined. Well, they were examined, but they were unable to determine whether there was water in the airways or the lungs because of the previous autopsy that happened and the dissection. Also, because they dissected the stomach and did what they did with that, the contents of the stomach is removed as well. So for me, it is a cover up, because how do you not send the next structure where drowning could begin, where this is the start of it all? Then you have the airways have already been drained. People have to understand this. The lungs, the airway, the stomach was there, or else he would not have been able to say what the contents were not and what they should, when we can say what they should have been, right? So when they did their autopsy and dissected the airways and opened up the lungs, whatever water was in the airway and the lungs is now gone. And then it gets shipped on the 7th out, and it doesn't get to DC until the 10th. The water is not there for them any longer.
Right. So now it's debatable. It's debatable when I say he drowned. That's debatable now.
And
You didn't
you
remove the
can,
thing.
right. You can't even look at the stomach to say whether or not he drowned, because there's no contents of the stomach either. So you don't know if there's salt water in the stomach or not. So
Now,
yeah, this is sounding like a cover up to what's going on.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that in this type of situation where all these eyes are on him, she's right in the sense, even though it's not illegal to do what they did, I think they should be operating a little bit differently in this situation where people are judging them. People are quick to make these decisions. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what's happening. And because it's happening, you should move a little bit differently and a little more cautiously and a little more respectfully about this thing, because you didn't start off that way and you won't pay for that.
And see, I said that earlier. I said, just because this is business as usual, this is normal for you to do this. This is not these are not normal circumstances. So you can't follow the same rules and guidelines that you would follow on an everyday autopsy where you're the only person doing it. No, you should not have shipped that body until you were ready to ship the next structure as well with it. Regardless.
I'm about what she said.
Yes, let me say this right here, right? So listen, so there's been a conversation about all eyes on this situation in Mississippi, right? Well, and I heard somebody say, well, do you think they would do that with all these eyes on them? Do you think that they would do that knowing that the whole country, if not the whole world? So yes, I think they'd do it. I don't think Mississippi give a fuck about what you motherfuckers think. I think they would play in your face. This Mississippi we talking about.
Hold on. They asking that question, and this is the same land where they would have picnics right underneath the bodies swinging in the trees.
Yes.
And take pictures and send postcards. Are you serious?
Yeah,
they would, because they think we're dumb.
Yeah, but
they just don't give a damn.
They just don't give a damn.
They have all the power.
Yeah.
Hey, what we got going on in Mississippi is bigger than the world. That's just how it is,
Yeah, because you niggas don't stop complaining in a minute. So here's another question. Right. So listen, my question is, so that the throat area was not sent with the body. We already discussed why. I mean, there's no excuse, no justification, because I said what I just said because you would think they would proceed with caution, and you would think that they would open up the books to allow us to see that everything is transparent. But Mississippi, there's no way I'm a medical examiner and that body is shipped minus anything, because I want to make sure that the appearance of fairness and unbiasedness, I want to make sure that we have that moving forward. I don't want to be subject to hearing anybody complain about what I did, because the major takeaway from that press conference was that body was shipped out the throat, and we assumed that it's a drowning. We are led to believe it's a drowning, and we all know, you don't got to be a forensic pathologist to know that throat is one of the throat, the stomach, the lungs. When it comes to drowning, and then is there any ingestion of water, salt water, right? Is there salt water inside the body? If he died prior to, if we believe that he died and the body was placed there. If he stopped breathing and they placed him in that water, then there would be no ingestion of water if he died prior to be put in that water. So there's so many things that you can discover by understanding that. And my question is, so the body was transported the next day after the initial autopsy was conducted. So the body was transported on the 10th, July 10th, Henny?
Yeah. The body was shipped on the 7th.
On the 7th. And
they received it on the 10th.
They received it on the 10th. Okay, so Henny. So Ben Crump has been grabbing shit and just giving everything credibility based on him sharing it, right? So we heard that the body was transported to DC to Dr. Mitchell. Face down.
No.
That's what we heard. That's what somebody said. Ben Crump.
It's not true.
I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm saying that it was said that happened. Ben Crump didn't address whether that was true or not, and he would have known. He didn't address whether that was true or not, right? That's one thing. So my question is, so the throat structure was not transported with the body. Did the coroner, did Dr. Mitchell or his staff tell Ben Crump and or the parents and or Ben Crump, like, hey, from the jump, I'm stymied in my ability to be able to draw a conclusion because I don't have the throat components. So did they tell Ben Crump and the parents that? And if so, or did they call, or did the medical examiner in DC, did he call Mississippi and say, hey, where's the throat?
We don't know.
We don't know that, right? Another thing is, did they inquire about it?
We don't know.
We don't know any of that. So that's a major takeaway from the initial preliminary independent autopsy report. Why would you come to a press conference and you drop that the throat was not sent with the rest of the remains and not have an answer for us as to, did you inquire about it? What did they say about it? What did they give you all an excuse or justification for why? Could they not have sent it after they were done with it so that you could examine it? We were left with so many unanswered questions, and I don't think it's fair for the people who were waiting on some sort of clarity or clarification in that autopsy.
It is fair. You know why it's fair?
Because it's Mississippi?
No. You know why it's fair? Because it raised suspicion in all of us.
So they wanted to raise suspicion. So are you accusing Benjamin Crump of playing a political, emotional, social game with Black America?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
So when you think back to how he's handled this case, let's focus on just this case. The parents have been out here keeping it in the press. We know, but they were on a press run within a few days of their son being found. He had the cameras, lights, camera, action. Let's go. One interview after another. The funeral. First of all, he's playing social media games because he's posting things that are going viral. And with posting that, people are thinking he's stamping it. That Ben Crump is saying this is true because he's stamping it, right? Only for him to have to come back and somewhat retract his statements. The way that the funeral was handled, the way that this preliminary report was handled, he turned the funeral into a press conference. And I'm sorry, I don't care who don't like what I said. It's a fact. That funeral became a press conference. It became political grandstanding. It became charging us racially because he had people at the funeral chanting justice for Nolan. Now, I understand we do want justice for Nolan, but in my mind, and y'all correct me in my thinking if I'm wrong, but A funeral is a time for remembrance, for mourning. A funeral I wanted to hear, I heard the parents. I wanted to hear from the siblings. I wanted to hear from what friends. I wanted to learn about Nolan and the memories that they shared. I wanted to hear about Nolan. I didn't care about announcements at the NAACP and who was donating money. I didn't need to hear that at the funeral. So for me, it's showing a pattern of pushing buttons to get us going. It's working. It's working because we going. But I feel like that's what he's doing. And he knew that if he dropped this information and told us that there was no next structure, that we were going to be on fire. And we have been. And we've been calling Mississippi out. So much so that the district attorney had to come and address the situation today. So he knows how to incite us to get us going. So yeah, he's playing the social media. I'm not saying he ain't doing his job, but he's working social media in my humblest of opinions.
I have something else I want to run past you. There was a situation that happened in Petoskey, Michigan, a city that I know all too well because I was locked up in a city called Eastlake, Michigan, at Oaks Correctional Facility.
Yeah.
Right, I was locked up there. Petoskey, Michigan is northern. Michigan has two peninsulas, right? Lower Peninsula and Upper Peninsula. The further north you go in Michigan, the greater the likelihood of the possibility that you run into some racial animus. I just learned that word, animus. I just learned that word, right? You run into some angry white people who don't like you because of the color of your skin. Petoskey, Michigan, I don't know what's going on, but there was a brother. I want to play something for you, Mr. Perkins is familiar with the situation. I want you to hear this, Henny, and tell me what you think.
Family and coworkers are now demanding answers about why something like this could happen to him at a music festival. Over the past year, Lon has been working here at the Friends of Detroit as a mentor to kids. Everyone we've spoken to today says that he is an amazing human being.
We're just stunned. I mean, just blown back. Still, even when I heard it, I'm just...
Lon Hartman was in northern Michigan at the Blissfest Music Festival last weekend when he was found with serious lacerations to his neck on Sunday, July 12th. Hartman's friends and family say he was violently assaulted in what was potentially a hate crime.
Just hours before his attack, his friend texted him asking him if he was safe, and he said no.
Therese Garnier is one of Lon's closest friends and is now acting as the family's spokesperson. She says she believes his injuries were not self-inflicted.
We talk every day. We've been friends since we were teenagers. He has so much going for him. He just graduated. He got a new place that he was inviting me to. And he absolutely loves his job where he's mentoring kids. He tells me about it all the time.
The Emmett County Sheriff's Office has posted multiple updates online about this case. On Monday, they released a statement saying that they, quote, recognize the significant public interest surrounding this horrific incident and appreciate the community's patience and cooperation as investigators continue their work. Hartman has been in the ICU and is now recovering from his serious wounds. Back home in Detroit, his coworkers at Friends of the Children say that he is the least deserving person for something so cruel.
And whoever did this, just that they just get the justice that's due for Lon. He did not deserve this. No one deserves anything like this. So we're praying hard.
Mr. Perkins, what in the hell do you got going on in Petoskey? I don't have nothing good to say about Petoskey because
I've only been up there once or twice for court. Don't know the area. Don't vacation in northern Michigan.
I do.
But when I heard about it, I spoke with someone this weekend about it. And, you know, when they said that, you know, the call that I got was that this gentleman was somebody attempted to decapitate him. I mean, you hear about that in some movie, right? And I reached out. I spoke to someone who's close to him. I never spoke to the mom. I was waiting for the call. And the next thing you know, the news stories started coming out, but not a lot. Not a lot. I mean, if in fact this injury happened. I mean, at a music festival. And we're just only hearing snippets about it. I mean, and we pray that this young man lives and recovers, because he sounds like he has something to give to our people, and he's doing that and he's living that. And, he just went out, for all intents and for what we know or what we can assume, to enjoy himself at a music festival. And I mean, the flavor that they savor up north, and in the west side of Michigan, in a lot of places, and it dovetails back into, that's Mississippi up north. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to talk about Mississippi down there? My mama used to say Michigan's one of the most racist states in the union, and you find it because what we have is these havens sometimes when we're in the city of Detroit, and even some places like in Oakland County and Washtenaw County, and even sometimes in Macomb. But what I'm saying, in Southeast Michigan, this is a haven with all its problems. You don't see the type of things that go on up north, which are showing themselves right now. And I'm just waiting for more information to be able to talk about it more. I mean, because the amount of notoriety that it's getting, the amount of attention that it's getting, it's almost like if we don't give this attention, they're going to try to sweep this under the rug too. Decapitating somebody? I mean, that's like movie stuff.
I am intimately familiar with Petoskey in the surrounding area, Grayling.
Oh boy,
I am intimately everything from Standish to Eastlake to
Marquette.
I am intimately familiar with the northern lower peninsula and the UP, the upper peninsula. I am intimately familiar with the layout and the social construct of that area. And it is an area where I'm not surprised. When you're from
do they have like a suspect? Do they got a motive?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I've only, what that story said and a couple other clips, that's all the information that I had. I never got a chance to talk to his mom, but I talked to a friend of the family, and that was on, I believe, Sunday, and haven't heard too much more. But you don't hear about it in the media.
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah.
You just want to smile. Gives back, and he enjoys giving back. He's someone who he walks into the room and you just want to smile. And I'm glad he's better, but I just wish I never had to see him in that space.
There's a continuous space of seeing that be the outcome. A young black man isolated, predominantly white area, it doesn't usually end up well for him. Do I know why this happened? No. Do I know who did it? No. But is there a consistent, similar space in this? I think everybody can see that. That he's human. He didn't deserve it. And I hope he makes it out of it.
My question is here, and this is just flat out. There's so much racial animosity. There has been so much stoking. I don't want to blame it on the Trump administration, but Trump, his first 4 years, he was not what black people voted for him in droves, because I think that black people looked at Trump like he was Omarosa's friend from the show that he had. I think that black people who didn't know, who haven't studied the life of Donald Trump and his father, his lineage, I think that black people thought that they looked at Donald Trump like he was like Bill Clinton, like he was JFK or something. He was a cool motherfucker. The government don't like him. He grabbed a bitch by the pussy, shit like that. I think they found that shit cute until he got into office and you saw a monster emerge. His second term, listen, he doubled down on all the shit that he wanted to do in the first term. I think that he came into office. I know for a fact he came into office saying, hey, listen, the first term, I let you bitches play with me. I let Congress, I let the Senate play with me. I was fighting back, but this time I don't give a fuck about y'all, and I'm gonna put my people in position to win, to succeed, and to take advantage of this motherfucking country, right? And I think that the way he has handled this country, I think that he stoked and fanned the flames of racial animosity for a purpose. Because when the country is infighting, and when there's racial tension at the highest levels, and when we're infighting, when poor white people are arguing with poor black people, that means it's like 3-card Molly. I got y'all looking at this card right here, while at the same time I'm taking over shit and I'm selling this whole goddamn country out. Any take on that?
I mean, here's the thing. He was a shapeshifter. You know, he was whatever the situation needed to be. He wanted to be president. And he was willing to do their business in the 80s, you know, and in the 90s. You know, he was one of the biggest fundraisers for the Democratic candidates. So, you know, he's even more dangerous because that means that he'll do anything to accomplish whatever he wants to accomplish. He's so self-absorbed. As many Mike saw the ultimate white man. You know, he just, and he's going to do their bidding. You know, but remember what he came into office for. He came into office to take away abortion, and they're not trying to take away abortion for black people. They don't want white women having abortions because they're worried about not being the majority. They wanted to do immigration, you know, and put these people out because, again, it reduces the ability to stay in the majority longer. Because it ain't going, you know, if somebody from France is an illegal alien, by the look of them, they're not going to even try to investigate them before they see somebody who's black or Latino, period. So then at the same time, what else did he do? And people forgot about this. He changed the inheritance laws. So he made it the greatest transition of wealth that this country has ever seen, unchecked and untaxed up to a certain level. He increased that. So he made all of these things possible. And then he also they wanted him to change the dynamic of the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court now has a 6-3 conservative majority. And those people stay around a long
Hey, listen, the Supreme Court having a 6-3 conservative majority. Do you know how long and how many? Listen, it's going to take the better. So I'm a student of history, religion, and politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take the better part of 50
30,
years.
40 years. 30, 40 years.
With different administrations coming in, some win, some lost. It's going to take the better part. It's going to take all the right things need to happen for the Democratic Party over the course of the next 40, 50 years before they reestablish a majority. It's going to take the right things.
I'm going to tell you, hey, look, you know how you like picks, how you want to pick we're going to the future. I'm going to tell you, Clarence Thomas, before Trump leaves, he's going to retire so Trump can put another conservative like him on the bench. And he's going to do that to protect his white people, to protect his conservative values, to protect all those things because, you know, he's angry black man, but he's angry with black folks. It's clear about that. I mean, you know, there's a lot that can be said about him, but watch. That's
I got you. So listen, I want to conclude this, what we call part 2 of the Nolan Wells Unlocked and Unsealed. And I want to come back tomorrow and I want to attack some other issues that I think I want to get an update on the Carmelo Anthony situation. Henny has a couple of things that are extremely pressing in terms of worldview and that I want to talk about. So I want to just jump over and cover 7-8 issues within the span of an hour, maybe hour and a half tomorrow. So we can kind of like go over other things that happen. This situation with Nolan Wells is a situation that deserves attention, but there are other things that I want to cover as well. So if you guys can we come back tomorrow and we can pick about 6-7 issues and we can come down with our opinions of them. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down.
All right, I got you.
The week in review.
I didn't hear you, brother.
I said the week in review.
Yes. And the week dealing with Henny can't come fast enough
First of all, I'll be available. I don't know about you. Okay. You talking about week in review, yes, and then you'll be calling us talking about I'm on my way to Mexico. I gotta go do an interview down there. You know what I'm saying? And then you forget about us little people that you made promises to.
Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Girl, bye.